Good morning. Good morning, beauties. How is everything where you are with you? I know how is everything is a very big question, and there is a lot of everything going on right now, as you well know. And I keep saying that to you in particular, because I really want to emphasize how much you do know, how much energy you are picking up, how much awareness you have of the field around you that has been shifting and changing so very distinctly this year, and to keep supporting you in coming into attunement, right? To tune yourself in, yeah, like I've spoken of before, like a radio, right? Where you're tuning in to that channel, to that station that is yours, that has the vibratory field where you can hear below and above the huge, raucous, chaotic noise festival that is being promulgated right now. Some very much on purpose, others just part of the confusion of the available platforms, such as this one right here, where there's a lot of noise. Yeah. So there's a word that I wanted to bring in today. And words, as I've shared, are extraordinarily important to me. And I believe they're important in general because everything, of course, has a vibratory field, as I was speaking yesterday, right? It's all movement, sound, light. There's a vibration to everything. So the words we use, since we still use language, right? This is how we communicate, generally speaking, is with our voices and the words that we use, whichever language we speak most fluently. Some people are blessed, well, they've worked hard, and they speak many languages. And inside of that, even, right, when you have studied other languages, you understand there's a nuance to the sound, right? There are particular emphases that we place on certain letters in order to communicate something. So what I want to speak about is even more important than that. Not more important, but more relevant to what it is that I feel needs to be transmitted at this time, that has been a constant transmission through me, is that the vibration of the word you speak, the utilization of particular words, is a powerful spell, right? Spelling, spell that we are casting as we speak. Also, the words we listen to. I'm sure you notice, right? You might tune into someone that perhaps somebody has recommended that you listen to, that you watch their video or listen, and you can't tolerate the voice, right? Or something about the vibratory field. Even if they are saying all of the quote unquote right things, and they might look like something you want to relate to or someone you wish to relate to, but the vibratory field is off for you. This is what I'm speaking to here. Paying attention, tuning yourself in, attuning yourself to your deep wisdom, to your deep awareness of what is a yes for your field, what is a maybe, what is a no. And starting to really honor the wisdom that comes to you by way of your body, right? It's not so much a thinking thing, right? Where you're analyzing somebody's linguistics, right? It's a vibratory field that you feel, and it creates a glitch, right? It creates a feeling of, ugh, like I don't like that. Trust yourself, turn it off, right? But also, if you're in the midst of, say, you're in a conversation, you're inside of a space somewhere, you're at a party, you're at a cafe, etc., and you are speaking with somebody, or you hear somebody speaking and you feel that same feeling, right? This is how we fine tune the beautiful machine, for lack of a better word, of our own embodied wisdom, is by attending to your feelings, okay? Tending your own feelings and starting to use your discernment, right? And starting to trust and value the kinds of reference points that you're having, right, inside your body. And you're at a party and you're speaking, and somebody again, right? Perhaps there's somebody on the other end of the spectrum that you normally wouldn't, your mind would tell you, oh, that's not somebody I want to talk to. Something about anything, the way they dress, some program you might have about who it is you engage with and who you don't engage with. And yet, the vibratory field that emanates from them as they speak or share is deeply resonant and deeply attractive or beautiful for you. Again, pay attention. Pay attention without tension to the word and the vibration of the word. Again, coming back to yourself, what words are you utilizing all the time? Internally, externally. Start to notice, start to make note of, quite literally. Use this as a practice, okay, as an experiment. Start to tune in today on the repetition thoughts that you might have. If you're able to, and I think all of us are able to do this, but if you can avail yourself of a little notebook, a pen, yeah, I know, right? We're going to go analog here. If you want to, yeah, write notes in your phone, whatever works for you, that you start to take this down. Start to note which words come in regularly. Especially notice if you are using harsh words toward yourself. Okay, start with that. Any kind of repetitive loop where you are telling yourself things like, oh my God, you're so stupid. What an idiot you are. How could you do this? You should know better. What's wrong with you? But I'm not suggesting that you go into a deep, pit of sorrow or traumatize yourself by writing these. Actually, getting them out of your mind and onto paper is extraordinarily helpful for eventually releasing them completely. Okay, because we also have another thing you're going to write down as well. Also notice words that you might have, or sentences or thoughts that you are aiming toward other people, right? Judgments, comparisons, etc. with words, yeah? Because that is what streams through our minds, our words. So write these things down. Notice also how you feel when you see these words written out and you notice, wow, okay, I say that a lot inside my head. As I know you've heard before, consider whether you would speak those words to another person out loud. Or even you might say these things to yourself out loud as well. So that's a double emphasis, okay? And feel the spell that you have been casting. These words might have been picked up from somebody a long time ago who spoke these words around you or to you, or yes, simply in the environment that you lived in, maybe to another adult, right? So there's programming, and then we ingest it, right? We take it in, we digest it. Sometimes we don't digest it all the way, and it stays clogged up in our bodies. So notice the word, notice the vibratory field of the words that you speak out loud and internally. Notice the vibratory field of other people's words. You can notice these things by, again, doing the same practice of pausing, right? Pausing helps you to listen better, right? Even to listen better to your own dialogues, and then to listen to another person. And when I say listen, it isn't just the basic base level listening, right? Pause, lean back, breathe more slowly, breathe more deeply, then come back down into your body so you can notice the vibration and how you feel in the vibratory field of the conversation you're having inside your head, right? The outside, the inside, and how that feels, right? This is an attunement process, and the reason we want to attune ourselves is so that we can be sovereign. We can start to choose what we want in our space and what we don't want. We can start to empower ourselves to absolutely close the door on spells that have been cast or are being cast, attempted to be cast over us currently, and absolutely becoming the magician, right? And speaking, absolutely not. These things are not allowed in my space. They're not allowed in the space of my head. They're not allowed in the space of my body. They're not allowed in the space of my home, right? It might mean that there are some people in your life that you finally allow yourself to recognize, wow, I don't feel good when I'm with this person. I don't feel good. It's not nourishing, right? And that you start to attune so deeply to yourself that you cannot any longer allow yourself to continue that relationship. It's hard to do, right? As we open these doors to a more comprehensive consciousness, to more sovereignty, to more power, right? Really reclaiming that word power. We're not talking about power over other people. We're not talking about oppression or megalomania. We're talking about self-love, self-respect, honor, these beautiful principles, these values, but turning them towards yourself, right? Honoring the sanctity of your own space, of your own life, right? Returning yourself back to your deep knowing, your psychic powers waking up, your ability to see in the dark, yeah? To be able to work with the underworld principles that are being brought up to the surface right now. Pluto in Aquarius. That's another deep subject, right? That's astrological, but it's also a portent of a particular energy field on the planet where we are all being called to pay attention, right? Pluto brings things up from the underworld, from the darkness, from the depths. Pluto is, the god. Hades is another name for death, or the world of the underneath, right? And we see how all things are being brought up to the surface right now for us to look at, to see, and to respond to, because we can't, even if you are not watching the news, and I highly advise that you do not watch the mainstream news. You tune in very, very, very carefully and in very small doses if you feel you must. But the chaos and the stuff being pulled up out of the mud, right? Because we cannot pretend anymore. We're being asked to really fine-tune. And that doesn't just mean let's stay on the surface of things. It means quite the opposite. Let's go below the surface in yourself. Thus, right? Oh, what words are looping through my mind all the time? What concepts? Do these belong to me? Did I pick these up along the way and I have just made them part of me, right? What words are you speaking out loud to others, to yourself? After you've written out this list, and it might take a few days where you start seeing, oh yeah, that's one that I say all the time. You're going to create another list on the other side of words, phrases that have the opposite effect, that effectively cancel out these other words, and you're going to start to adopt those words, those sentences. It might feel awkward at first. It might feel, I'm faking it. This is not real. Remember, you learned to say those negative things about yourself, about others, right? Those judgments. You learned those. You weren't born with them. You weren't a tiny little baby, a little tiny child, saying things like that to yourself or to others. You were taught, right? The culture, your family, etc. Or difficult situations, hard experiences. Yeah, so you're unwinding that old tape. You're unwinding it. You're taking it out of the machine. You're crumpling it. You're discarding it. And you're going to make a new tape. You're going to give yourself new downloads, right? You're going to allow yourself to be creative, to be a creator, not just a consumer of others and other people's programs. So you start to create a list of beauty words, we will call them, beauty phrases, not just affirmations. I am beautiful, right? This is a feeling tone. You notice the words that have been living inside of you. Sometimes you're speaking them out loud to other people, right? Some people, right, we lose ourselves and we're starting to call people names, etc. It's, that's a long road to look at. And the beauty words, you want to feel them in your body as you start being curious and writing down some alternative programs by way of words, sentences, right? If you've been saying, I am such an idiot, right? You might start to experiment with, start with the words and the feeling inside of them that actually you can accommodate even a little, even if it feels like, no, this is fake. I really do feel like I'm an idiot. And you were told you were an idiot so many times, or, right, you adopted somebody else's phrases that it feels almost like disloyal, like you'd be lying if you said anything other than I am an idiot. So start to experiment with a feeling tone of a statement that you could start to apply to yourself. I work so hard. I am so curious about learning. I'm so interested in feeling good, right? Start to bring in aspirational statements, yes, but things, words and statements that feel good in your body, that you feel you can experiment with, right? We don't want some spirituality, LITE, right? I am brilliant. I am a genius. Yes, you are brilliant. Yes, you are. If you're here right now and you're alive on this earth, yes, you are brilliant. You are so brilliant. And you will unearth that brilliance, that shine, that light as you experiment with removing the old programs. Become a disciple to yourself. Become disciplined on behalf of your rebirth, your remembering into your brilliance. For the simple reason that it feels better. That's number one. As you feel better, right, your life reverberates with that feeling tone, with that vibratory field. As your vibratory field builds in this authentic way, you create ripples that move out into other aspects of your life. And you start to feel the return on those ripples. And then it affects other people. It attracts and supports other people. Just you walking into a room with your inner landscape having been cleaned out and cleared out, and you are vibrating at your authentic space of peace and happiness and contentment and nourishment and empowerment and sovereignty. That helps everybody. Yeah? But start with you. Place yourself at the center of the altar first. Okay, beauties, beloveds. Sending you so much big love. Talk soon.